All right. So, good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you are, all over the world, listening to me via this medium. It's a great privilege to be alive, and we take it not for granted. And it's a day that the Lord has made, and we are happy, we rejoice in it. Uh, Tonight, we go on as quickly as possible. I promise not to take much of our time, but the few moments we're going to spend, we want to be able to share awesome knowledge and wisdom together. All right. So let me mute everyone so that we don't have interferences here. Okay. All right. Once again, your friend and partner here, Olushola Popola, a chartered accountant, investment advisor, and also a life coach. More of an inspirational speaker, and my goal, by the grace of God, is to assist individuals to have a kind of the right mindset for themselves that will assure and guarantee their success. And if you, by chance, are on this platform, whether on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Zoom, wherever, whichever medium you are using to connect with us, our goal is to help ourselves to come together. We are experiencing some unusual kind of period in the world today. I need you and you need me. And we can all achieve great things together. You don't need to, keep quiet where you are. You don't need to stay in that condition. It can always be better. I always see a better part of you. I always see the better side of you. But then you got to see it yourself. Are you seeing the best side of yourself? Or you still looking at yourself as somebody who things are not working out for? I want to give you an assurance. Things will surely work out for you. If you believe it, if you think it, you believe it. If you can conceive it and you believe it, you will achieve it. So, based on the short time that we have today, we'll be looking at facing and overcoming life and business challenges. Facing and overcoming life and business challenges. Suffice to say that challenges are just there. Challenges are there. And someone who will be talking to you about facing life challenges and things, well, at times they say, he who wears the shoes knows where it pains the most. He who wears the shoe knows where it pains. That is true. But then I don't need to go through your experience to know how you feel. No, it's a thing of the mind. It's a thing of the mind. So that I have gone through one situation, I can simulate into other situations. Oh no, you don't really understand how it is. Let me tell you the truth. As a man thinker, I don't need to be in your shoe to know how you feel. I don't need to be in your shoe. I often hear that word. They say, I need to, somebody lost a child, lost a husband or wife and things. You are crying. Do you need to be the wife or the husband of the person before you know that that thing is painful? You don't need to be. You don't have to have lost your own husband or wife before you know that that situation is not okay. Somebody is hungry, starving, and then you say you miss a meal for or just go fasting for 1 day or 2 days, and then you know whether you don't. I don't need to be, but I can simulate. Now, what are we talking about? Facing and overcoming life and business challenges. These are things that you cannot run away from. Challenges are things that must always come. In life, as you live your life, life is meant to be lived. Everyone came into this world or when you came and you started having understanding, your thinking was, everything is going to work out for me. My business is going to work. I go to school, it's going to be easy. I go to work. When I get married, it's going to be easy. I'm going to have a blissful marriage. I'm going to have wonderful children and things like that. Everyone has a picture of what they intend for themselves. But in reality, does it always go the way you plan it? In reality, does it always go the way you plan it? Bet me, it does not always at the most of the time. Most of the time, even those things that you've not planned are those things that you haven't seen. And you begin to wonder, why are things like this? Must I go through this? Why should I experience this? I remember some couple of years ago when I used to work with a multinational company. I decided to leave the company just to go. I felt I had ideas. I know what I want to pursue. I have my dreams. I have my goals. And I had it written down. Of course, they always tell us, write your vision, write your stuff. I wrote all those things down just then. But then, along the line, things were not working out the way I planned it. Started business with a friend, things went bad. Why? There are somebody said, maybe you didn't pray before you started. Did you seek God's face and things? At times when challenges come, people will start preaching to you messages that you think, I wasn't thinking. But when things will go wrong at times, they will really go wrong. I tell you, it got so bad to a point that it was difficult. When you have lived a life of affluence, you have 2-3 cars, and then you now have to sell off your cars just to make sure that you can get your children to school. You have to sell off things. You have to just try to manage your life. And people see you outside, they think, oh, this man is just successful. You are doing well. This woman is successful. They see you outside as if everything is going on. But inside of you, you are crying. Inside of you, there is so much pain. And I was wondering, where did I get it wrong? At a point in time when there was no car to drive, I had to start going to with these public buses in Lagos. We sneak, used to do programs on television, talking about success. I think did some programs on AIT and things. We had talk about success and things. Now, when you are talking on radio, nobody sees you. But when you are now talking on television, some people see you, they recognize you. And then now this man that is talking about success, I look at him jumping the buses. Man, it could be very, very embarrassing. So I had to look for a face cap. And then I was, walking the sidewalks, but it was in the event, one of those times that I had to go and enter a bus, that the thing told me, he said, Shola, who is looking at you? You are making this thing worse for yourself because of your mentality. And I began to look at, come to think of it, this is my life. Is this where I hope to be? No. Is this where I desire to be? No. Can I do something about it? Yes. But who is going to stop me? It's me. So tonight, we're going to be looking at business. We're not going to trivialize any kind of challenge, whether business, or if you talk of losing business, I tell you, I've built a business, multimillionaire business that went down the drain. Not because I didn't do what I was supposed to do, but just things just went wrong. So that you're talking about business. How about marriage? Oh, the courtship period was so wonderful. You had everything. You were tantalizing yourselves. Then suddenly the marriage came. In the house, things are no longer the same thing. The man sleeps this way, the woman sleeps this way. Like I shared the story, before I got married, I was telling I always look at my wife, I say, what can ever make me say I want to divorce this woman? What can, not even divorce, that's what can even make me quarrel with this woman? I always think about it because I think, what can she do for me to quarrel with her? I couldn't imagine anything. Well, that's how it starts. But you know what? 1 year, 1 or 2 years into the wedding, let me say about 1.5 years into the wedding, into the marriage, wow, trouble, trouble. And the trouble was so much that at the point in time, even though by the grace of God, I'm a Christian, I'm a child of God, and I've never contemplated divorce. I've never imagined my history. My parents were not divorced, so I even counsel people and advise people against divorce and things. But you know what? When this challenge was so much, it got to that point. I said, "Come, if I have to do this, I have to do it." And I couldn't tell anybody. I was just on my own, thinking about it. And the more I think about it, the more I see the reason to go ahead to do it. The more I think about it, the more I see the reason. A woman that looked so beautiful to me then became as if nothing, she was nothing anymore. Somebody that I so much cherished then. I don't know, the picture started becoming so bad. That's why I'm doing this program. Because I know that there are many persons that are going through things like this. You can't say it to anybody. Everybody sees you and think everything is okay. Everybody sees you and think you are living a wonderful life. But you are enduring your marriage and you are not enjoying it. But by the grace of God, I was able to overcome that challenge. Well, put on the gym. We were able to overcome the challenge. So, talking about the challenge, what do we need to do to overcome challenges? And how do we perceive challenges? Let me just quickly share this. I decided to put up those little talks just so that you know that challenge is not just peculiar to you, it's not just unique to you. It might be spiritually, even in your religious center, you have challenges. But let's quickly just look at something. I wanted to speak off the slide, but you know, at times it's good people just see a slide or something to look at. So let me share this slide with you. Okay, saying facing and overcoming life and business challenges. You know, it's one thing, obviously, it's one thing to face a challenge, is another thing to overcome the challenge. A lot of people face challenges and it's inside that challenge that they die. Or inside, let me call it the problem. I'm going to be explaining the difference between problem and challenges. So I want you to keep an open mind. I want you to just try to simulate and bring yourself with me, and I know it's going to be great. Now, before now, I don't know how many of you have experienced or had this. You tell somebody, I have a problem. They say, no, don't say you have a problem, you have a challenge. I know it's quite a number of people have experienced that. They say, you say, I have a problem. My problem is this. Oh, somebody says, no, don't always say problem, problem, problem. Instead of saying problem, say you have a challenge. Now, why do we opt for using the word challenge instead of problem? Now, the key difference between a challenge and a problem is that, look at, sorry, just a minute. Let me get this out of the way. The difference between a challenge and a problem is that while a challenge is a demanding task, mark the word, a demanding task that an individual wishes to overcome. A challenge is a demanding task which an individual wishes to overcome. On the other hand, a problem is something difficult to deal with or understand that hinders the progress of the individual. Let's take it again. A challenge is a demanding task. I'm facing this. It's a reality. but I'm not going to die here. In the body, I'm feeling sick, but this is a challenge. I don't see it as a problem. You just left the doctor and the doctor just told you that you have a fibroid. You left the doctor and they just told you that you are on stage 2 cancer. You just left and the doctor said, oh, this thing cannot happen. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. And you see it. The moment you accept it as something that cannot be resolved, it becomes a problem. It's a challenge when you have the mind that I will overcome it. A challenge is a demanding task. Whatsoever you see that you can change, whatsoever you see that you can overcome, it is only a challenge, it is not a problem. But when you see that there's no solution to this again, it is difficult to do it. You can't even fathom it. Nobody on earth can fathom it. Even God cannot fathom it for you. Then you can define that thing as a problem. But then let me ask you this. Which problem is there that will defile your knowledge, will defile the knowledge of everybody around you, and will defile the knowledge of God? You know, I always say something that it is difficult to talk success. It's difficult to talk success, victory, and being a victor without being without being spiritual. You know, we always say something that the spiritual controls the physical. The spiritual controls the physical. And if the spiritual controls the physical, you must always reckon with the spiritual. If the spiritual controls the physical, you must always reckon with the spiritual. That means for anything to be happening to you in the physical, there has been a place of performance in the spiritual. All right. So when we talk about challenge is a verb. And it's derived from a Latin word meaning to accuse falsely. It's a verb. You know, at times, when you understand the meaning of a word, when you understand the meaning of words, you will be able to relate with them and apply them. You know, they said, my people, my people, my people. It's not the devil's people now. In the Bible, it was saying, it said, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. My people. It's not devil's people. It's God's people. You and I will perish because of lack of knowledge. So when you are knowledgeable about some things, you are able to overcome those things. Now, when we say challenge is a verb and it's derived from the word, which means to accuse falsely. Falsely. That means there's a real side. To accuse falsely. If there's a false thing, then there must be a true thing. So when you are in a challenge or passing through the challenge, you are trying to prove that false situation to be wrong and tending towards the true situation of things. When you are passing through a challenge, what you are trying to do is to prove that that false situation, that state of joblessness, oh, my challenge is I don't have a job. If you see it as a challenge, you're not going to sit down and fold your hands. If you see it as a challenge, you are not just going to say, oh, there's nothing I can do about it. It's only God that can do everything and things. I tell people most of the time, you leave to God what he has left in your hands. Most times you leave to God what you're looking for happiness in your marriage. You are saying it is in the hands of God. There are 1,001 things that you could have done, the wisdom that God has given you. But then you must first of all see it. Don't see it as a problem. Don't see it. Remember, we said a problem is something difficult to deal with. Oh, my husband is so difficult. You don't understand what I'm saying. My wife, oh man, she's out of this world. No, it's you seeing it as a problem. But the moment you change your perspective, the moment you begin to change what you see, because I'm explaining this because most of us are used to saying, my problem is, my problem is, my problem is. The more you see it as a problem, the more difficult it becomes. But the more you see it as a challenge, then you are edging towards getting a solution. So, and we say challenge is, this challenge simply means to accuse falsely. That is a false thing. What you are experiencing is a false thing. It's not your true self. I remember a great mentor. He said, never you allow other people's opinion to determine your own reality. Don't allow your current situation, the current challenge. Oh, there's no money in my pocket. There's my wife is not happy with me. My husband is angry with me. No, that is not going to determine who you really are or what you're really going to become. I've seen couples that have fought and they, break bottles on themselves and they, kind of abuse themselves. They reported themselves to the police, took themselves to court, but today they are together, they're the best of friends. Because they decided to see, when I don't see you as a challenge, when I don't see that situation, oh, profitability is going down. We are not making profit you don't see it as a problem. Oh, my staffs are my problem. My staffs are my problem. So look at it as a challenge. Is a force. When it's a challenge, what you are saying is this. This is not the real situation. Oh, I'm having challenges with my children. Oh, when I say I'm having challenges with my children, what I'm saying is this. This is not the true situation of my children. This is a false situation. I have a true picture of what I'm looking at. Oh, this is I'm having challenges with my business. What you are saying is this. This is not the true situation of my business. I'm looking at a true picture of what my business is. Challenge. Now, let's look at something. I put this thing this way. I say challenge. Challenge can be said to be a process of passing through an island to experience a change. Challenge can be said to be a process of passing through an island, like passing through a road to experience a change. I first got these words from my mentor, Mr. David Immonite Jr. A great millionaire, is the head of Believe Nation, and this man is doing great work out there. I will connect you at a point with him. Now, look at something here. When I sat down the first time, I began to analyze the word challenge, and he pointed that when you spell the word challenge, CHALLENGE, the first three letters of the word, CHA, and the last three letters of the word, NGE. If you combine the two of them together, it will give you the word called change. Is it not a kind of thing? Now, between this CHA, between this CH and this GE, there's an island. There's an island, there's a road, there's a pathway. When you are going through a process of change, it goes from one place, the bad side, to the good side that you are expecting. It goes from the place that is not where you desire to the place that you desire. Challenge. So you are going, there's an island. There's an island that you need to pass through. There's a process. In getting marital success, there's a process. There's an island. In getting academic success, there's an island that you will follow. In getting financial success, there's an island that you follow. In whatsoever challenge that you think you're facing, there's an island, there's a road. So, having said this, I want to paint a picture for you. There's this a there's this psalm that I liked so much when it said, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." You know, I began to sit down to picture this. I just brought some pictures together just to illustrate what I mean. You know, pictures speak 1,000 times than words, or 1,000 more times than words. And all right, now you say, now I'm talking about the island of change. Now I'm talking about the island of change. I want you to relate. Please, you listening to me there, I understand. You might say, oh, what I am facing is more than what you. Just take the time. Follow me. I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. Now, when he said, this man said, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He leads me beside the green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. You know, when he says he makes him to lie down in green pastures. Now, look at this picture. Look at this sheep. This is green pasture. On a green pasture, everything is cool. Everything is fine. You don't have any challenge. Everything looks rosy. Oh, the marriage is blissful. Oh, the business is just growing and booming and booming and booming. Oh, the children are doing fantastically well. Oh, your health is fine. You are just 100% healthy. You are in the green pasture. And then, I don't know what happened. He now said, yea, though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death. My question is, how can somebody leave this kind of playing ground and find him or herself in this shadow of death, the shadow of loneliness, the shadow of pain, the shadow of sorrow, the shadow of complaint, the shadow of lack, the shadow of death? But listen to this. That word said, though I pass through the valley of the shadow of death. Hear the word. It is only a shadow. It is not the real thing. It is only a shadow. It seems it's going to kill you. It seems you're not going to make it. Oh, this sickness. Am I going to make it? Am I going to survive? Oh, you, somebody, can I write my... Oh, they just asked me from the office how my life has just come to an end. I just received my sack letter. I don't have any savings in my account. My wife is not working. My children are out of school. My landlord is saying that I should pay the rent. It's a shadow of the valley of death. It's not going to kill you. It depends on how you walk through the shadow. Now, let me tell you this. How you're going to pass through this shadow is so much dependent on your attitude in the valley. In the valley, what is your attitude? What is your mental state? Now, for you to get to the other side, you must pass through. Now, the question is, how did you jump from this place to this place? Whenever there's supposed to be a new level, there's a valley to pass. When you pass through this valley, I don't know the valley of penury that you are passing through now. I don't know the valley of sickness that you are passing through now. But the truth is this. Know that that valley is leading you to a place. Until you pass through that valley, you cannot get a table that is set before you. It's until you move from the green pasture through the valley of the shadow of death, then a table can be set before you. See, look at, there's a difference between this place and this place. This place you will only be eating grass, green pasture, only grass. But when a table is set before you, now, the table that has been set before you is not, when people say, before my enemies, that literally is not enemies of your life. It's before those people that say you are not going to make it. The people that said that marriage is not going to work. The people that said the business, you can never be successful in business. You are a good for nothing wife. Nothing good can come out of you. But if you can pass through this valley with the right mindset, then you will get to the point where this table is going to be set. And everybody will be looking. We never knew she's going to make it. We never knew you are going to survive. We thought you are going to die in that sickness. Haven't you seen people survive of cancer? Cancer that has killed many persons. Some people have survived it. Fibroid that has killed many persons. Some people have survived it. Hepatitis that has killed many. Some people have survived it. Kidney failure, heart disease that has killed many. Some people have survived it. And today they are celebrated. Who said you can't survive it? Haven't you seen people that have had battered marriages and they've come back together, where children have gone in different ways? You know, the father does not even know where the children are, but today everybody is back and the table is set before them. Ladies and gentlemen, the valley of the shadow of death, that may be where you are, but what will determine whether you will survive it is your mental attitude. Your mental attitude. Challenges are what makes life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. Challenges are what makes life interesting. That's Joshua Marine. Challenges are what makes life interesting. You see, life is going to be boring. Just look at the period of the COVID-19. A lot of people have been sitting in the house. Some people are so bored. Oh, just wake up, do the same thing morning. But you know, those people in this part of the world that I am in Lagos, by the time they jump inside a vehicle, run, stay in traffic, and hey, this is life. For some, that is life. For some, they can't go out to go. It's a challenge now. You can't go out to play golf. You can't go to the basketball. You can't go to the gym. Oh, it's a challenge. Oh, you plan to wed and things are not, it's a challenge. But by the time you overcome this challenge, life becomes meaningful. Now, winning life challenges has to do a lot with your mentality. Let me tell you this. Let me define this. Say, a mentality is a way of thinking or the ability to think and learn. If someone says you have a mentality of a kindergarten, that is great if you are in kindergarten. But if you are in a 10th grade, you are in the university, and somebody is telling you that you have the mentality of a kindergarten, oh my God, the person has just said you are immature. The same word, but in two different contexts. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at this. I want to let's look at, because I have to wrap up here. We can't go. We'll be continuing this topic next week. The next episode, we'll be continuing it, because this is where the core is. This is where the core. Everything that I've said has to do with your mentality. Your mentality will define who you are and how you pass through the challenge. Your mentality will determine who you are and how you will face and overcome a challenge. Now, when we're saying this, that your mentality, you say, what has my mentality got to do with my family is not okay, my business is not working, my things. What has your mentality got to do with it? He said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. As you think, as your mind is thinking, so are you. Now, let me just put it literally so that I don't get it complicated for you. Now, you are driving. Let's say you're driving. Especially those of you that are driving busy town like New York and Lagos. Now, you're driving. And then along the line, somebody drove rough for you, did not drive well, and then blocked you, and then the person, have you seen people do something like this? 5 fingers, they like, I don't know what this means. When we were young, when somebody does this to you, I stayed in the north, and that time they say uwaka, they call it uwaka. Somebody oh my God, your head will spin, because that time, somebody made us to relate this gesture. It's like a cursing gesture, something like this, something like this. I don't know these other parts of the world, whether it means anything, but it's in Africa and Nigeria. They do something, you did something like this. They made us to think that when somebody is doing you like this, it's cursing your mother. That the person is doing like this is cursing your mother. And because of that mentality, oh my God, somebody does this to me. Oh no, I cannot take it. Then grammar will start. Why? Somebody did like this. That same thing, you could do it to somebody else in another country that this gesture does not mean anything to. And he just looks at you, he will even think you are waving at him, and he will wave back at you. But because of what you think it meant. So when somebody tells you, you are stupid, using a cursing word, bad word. Now, when the person uses that cursing word, you have a choice. I don't like using cursing words, but then just for the sake of this training, I just had to use that word so that you can get what I'm saying. So somebody said that. I have an option based on me, not the person now. The person can say it, and I will laugh. I say, this man does not know what he's talking about. And I go. And this same me can say, what? You mean you said I'm stupid? No, I'm not going to take that from you. And then something else starts. It is you that will determine how you will relate and react to things. So when talking about your mentality and the challenges of life that you face, how you can use your challenges, how you can use your mentality to win and overcome the challenges of life. I tell you, I'm going to be showing you the next episode, how you can use your mentality to overcome every challenge. There's no challenge that you are not meant to have dominion over. There's no challenge that you cannot overcome. There's no challenge that is more than you, but all depends on your mentality. But how do you have the right mentality to have the right way to overcome, to face and overcome life challenge, whether be it in your marriage, in your finance, in your business, with your children, with your spouse, in every area. In the next episode, I will be explaining this, how to harness the power of your mentality to overcome these challenges. I just did a lay down of this foundation in this today. In the next one, we'll be going more over it. Mentality, your mentality. It goes a long way in determining how you face life challenge. Now, if you've gained one or two things on this call, if you're watching on Facebook or in any medium, you can just drop a message on our YouTube page. You can drop a message. Just make a comment. We can share your comments, or what you think this could be in another way, or maybe some things that could be added, or things that you don't really get, or you have one or two questions that you want to ask. Then you can also get in touch. On Instagram is at Shola Popson. On Instagram is at Shola Popson. And on Facebook, of course, if you're on Facebook, you're just there right now, right? And then if you're in Nigeria, you can send a WhatsApp message through this number, 08033069206. If you're outside the country, you can just put in a plus. I think it's a +234, and you can always get across. So it's a complete privilege it's a great privilege to be talking to you using this medium, and I'll be looking forward to hosting you again this time next week by the grace of God. Remember, begin to work on your mentality for you to have a change. It is not a problem. It is only a challenge based on what your perception of it is. Once again, your friend and partner, Olushola Opola. God bless you until we see you again. Do have a wonderful week.